Hello and welcome to Michigan International Prep School. Thank you for your interest in applying to our school. This video is going to walk you through that enrollment process. First, you're going to navigate to our school website at miprepschool.org. Up in the upper right third of the page, you'll see a blue button that says Apply Now. And when you click on that button, it brings you to our enrollment page. And for new students, you're going to click over on the left-hand side and scroll down and read through those steps. And this video is showing those steps also, but there's some good information there, so please read through all that. And then click Apply Now or Continue Application. This is also where you'll come back to continue an application if you have to save it and move on to a different point. And when you get there, then you can you'll create an account. And when you create the account, it's over on the right, you're going to put in your name, as you can see there, all the phone number, the email address, and the email address is super important because that's what we use for communication. Put in your password, put in some security questions, that's to regain your access if at any point you need to, and then agree with that COPA, which is about the students, about security in the online world for people. And agree with that, and you click to create the account, and then it's going to bring you to a spot to add a student. So you can go ahead and add your first student or only student, put their name, both names, and then their date of birth, and then click Add Student. Once you do that, then it will bring you into the student application. And you see there on the left, the introduction, again, gives some valuable information. I encourage you to read through all of that. And then underneath the form, that's where you have all of the particular information. So we'll start off with the applicant. And it brings over information from the previous. And so you start entering the student name. Make sure you enter whatever is on the birth certificate. So if there is a legal middle name on the birth certificate, that's essential that this is all spelled exactly like the birth certificate because they have to match up for us. Fill in all the pertinent information here. Ensure that you're applying for the correct grade level. Answer any of the additional questions. Provide any of the other information. Anytime that you see cell phone or you select cell phone as the primary means of communication, then you'll see this: I am agreeing to sign up for communications from Michigan International Prep School via text messaging. That is something that we need in order to be able to send text messaging to you, which is an easy way of communication. Fill out any of the other information that's in here that is applicable, and then you click Next. And you can go then to the student information. You're going to answer the critical questions there about if you need a Chromebook, if you have reliable internet, a language in the home, any health considerations on the student information page. And then you'll go down to the family page. This is where you add all contacts. So this is extremely important. Contact 1 is the primary person you want to receive all MIPS communications. So this is if it's whichever parent you want to be first, if it's a grandparent, if it's a guardian, whoever needs to have this information first needs to be contact 1. Fill out all of their applicable information, including the relationship to the student, whether they have custody or not, whether they live with the student, reside, all that. Especially important is also the phone number and the type. Again, if it's a mobile phone, you'll get another question. And then there's several phone number options, and then down to the email address. Then contact 2 is the next most critical person to receive information or that has the rights over this child. Same information for contact 2, and we can allow so that we have 2 main contacts. If you need to add an additional contact, say there's a step-parent that needs to be a specific contact, then you say yes, and you can add a third contact. And enter all their applicable information. Then next very important step is emergency contacts. Enter these for people that if there's ever a time that we can't get a hold of you and there's something that we need to get information to you, this would be the next person or persons that you give us authorization to talk to. Anybody on this screen has authorization from you for us to send information or call or contact. You can put in multiple emergency contacts. And then there's some information about siblings and alumni, and then you're done with the family page. This is where you'll put in your current or most recent school and any support services that the student has received. As you answer yes or no, it adds in different pieces of information. Please provide as much information as possible, even when it's not required, because that helps us to have the right information for the student. Support services are extremely important. With a 504 or an IEP, speech and language, or social work. And for some of these, like the 504 or the IEP, if you mark yes here, at the end you'll need to submit a document for that, because we need that in order to properly accept your student. We have to know that we can provide those services. Once you're done with all of that page, it brings you to the agreements. And this is all the information that we are either required by the state or that we need to have on behalf of your child. So you'll go through, and some of these, there's only a yes option because you have to agree to it, because it's a requirement of the state, such as a virtual education setting. The state requires us to make sure that you understand that this is a virtual setting, so we have that question there. In order to come here, you have to say yes. And so you'll go through each of those. There's very important information there. Some of it, when you see a blue set of words, like the acceptable use policy, you'll need to click on that to look at that, because you're agreeing to certain legal things. And then there's additional information. Some of them near the bottom are ones that you can say yes or no to, like permission for completing surveys or media release, those sort of things. And once you're done with that page, click next. It brings you to additional questions. These are questions that help us get to know your child better and know what types of supports we may need to put in place immediately. From the NCAA, if they're an aspiring athlete, down to some of the social life factors that have happened to the child throughout their life, so that we can know how we might best support. And this is information that's required of us to be able to provide back to the state. You'll answer all those questions, and then there's questions about why you came to our school, how to describe the applicant so that we can get to know them again right away. So applicants' greatest strengths, why they, or what do you hope to obtain by attending our school, and then if there's any special considerations that we need to know to help your child be successful here. Again, you click next, you'll go to required documents, and there's some information that's critical to read, because we have to have all of these that are applicable to you in order to enroll your child. Birth certificate, parent identification, proof of guardianship if that's applicable. So if they are not living with their parents, then we need that appointment of guardianship. That's a court document. Immunization records are required by the state. And then transcripts for students who, and especially in grades 9th to 12th or 8th grade, if they took high school level courses, we need to know those so we can schedule for the right courses. All MIPS students must take 10 classes at a minimum each year by state requirement. When you go to any of these, if you say that you want to upload it now, then it's going to give you an upload option that you can then choose the file from your computer. You can take pictures and things of those and do that. I recommend from a computer, but it also works from any mobile device as well. And so you just have to know how to get to those files if you take a picture. If you say no to any of these, then it brings up a note in blue that says, please send this document to the registrar at miprepschool.org at a later time. And then you have to answer a follow-up question, just so that we know that you understand that we have to have this information before we can accept your student as a student here at MIPS. And so you understand and you have to agree to that. It's only a yes option. We need you to read that sentence and know that. So anytime that you can upload it right then is great. If you cannot, you can say no. Then you'll agree that you have to upload it, and then you can send it off at a later time to registrar at miprepschool.org, where our enrollment team will be happy to assist you. Once you've uploaded all of those things, or said yes that you'll upload them at a later time, then you click next. That takes you to the signature page, and you're going to agree that all this information is true and accurate, and then your electronic signature You type your name in there and then the date, then you click Next. And then it'll bring you to a screen where it can give, if you're missing any of the required information, you'll see it there in a red circle, or a red circle with a number inside, how many items are missing. So if you click on one of those, it'll take you to that section and you start filling in. You'll see that the required now becomes red so that you don't miss it. And you can go through and fill in any of that information so that you can then come back to this screen. So anytime that you do that, say you only have one screen like this, then you can scroll back down the left-hand side there and click on Summary. And it takes you back to the status page or the summary page. Once they are all green checks, you're good to go, and you can click Submit. At that point, it brings you back to a spot where you can then add another student. And so so you'll see your student there that was submitted, and you can then add another student right away. And when you do so, it will give you the option of copying over the pertinent information. So you want to enter everything a second time. Some of it you'll have to re-enter just because you have to verify contacts and things, but some of the other information that works, it comes and copies it across. If at any point you have any questions, concerns, or difficulties accessing this or completing this application, please reach out to us either at registrar@miprepschool.org or at our phone number that you'll see there on their main page, which is 248-289-5521. And we have an enrollment team that is well situated to help you through any of these problems. We are so excited that you've given us the time to listen to this video, to consider MIPS as the educational choice for your child this school year, and we are delighted to be able to serve your family this year in their educational progress.